Hey guys, I will be discussing Module 6. The questions ask, in your opinion, is reading clients' notes prior to meeting with them beneficial or detrimental when working with clients? In my opinion, I feel that it is beneficial. And with that, I'm saying it's important to kind of get to know your clients before actually speaking with them. If you have the opportunity where you can kind of go over their notes and or go over your notes and do some background information, anything that's already been provided to you up front as a social worker, it's important to always do your research, do your homework, kind of study over it a little bit so that way you can kind of get a heads up on your clients themselves and not just going in without knowing anything. It's important to know your clients beforehand and just gathering whatever information that you think would be important, whatever questions you think would be important to ask. All of that is necessary when you're getting to know your clients. So I definitely believe that gathering notes on your clients is definitely beneficial before meeting them. The next question asks, are there circumstances you would or would not access file information prior to meeting with clients? I would say circumstances where I would not access file information prior to meeting with clients is if it's a situation where you're wanting to get the information from the clients, I would say mouth firsthand, rather than just going off of reports that you've read over or narratives or anything of that sort. It may be a situation where something is just kind of probably a sticky subject to discuss or anything. It could be anything. So yeah, it would be a circumstance where I would just say if it's anything that's kind of I would say just like a serious topic or a serious incident has occurred, you may want to just take that time to just hear from the clients themselves before making assumptions or judgment or anything of that sort. The next question asks, discuss guidelines for confidentiality as a family social worker. So guidelines for confidentiality, I would just always say to make sure that any information that's discussed overall, it stays within the conversations that's being held within the family unit. As a social worker, it's important that you stick to those guidelines because it's always important to, make sure that your clients and the family know any information that's discussed, whether it's something that's very, very personal, something that's very, confidential, you don't want it to go outside of those guidelines. So I feel that it's important when you discuss guidelines as far as confidentiality, just to kind of make sure that you yourself know as a social worker that it's important that everything stays between yourself and the clients and the family circle. And it's also where the trust factor comes in, because you don't want to start working with a family and then all of a sudden they get word or rumors are going around that their information has been discussed, and then at that point you've lost trust in that family, and it's basically downhill from there because you now have your clients feeling like they can't trust you or their information is being discussed, especially if it's really personal topics that people want to keep within the family unit. So definitely, as far as the guidelines for confidentiality, mainly just making sure that the clients and the family know that nothing discussed, nothing stated, any opinions, anything like that, nothing will go with outside of the circle of confidentiality in the family unit and the clients that you are working with. Lastly, when would you overlook the guidelines to confidentiality when working with families? So for me, myself, I would overlook those guidelines if ever I feel that there are safety hazards that are, needing to be taken into consideration. If I feel like it's a family or an individual or whomever the case is, and safety is an important factor, and I feel like that there's some type of danger that may be going on or taking place, I definitely feel that confidentiality should be overlooked. Now, there's a fine line with that, because I know as social workers, confidentiality is always important. Yes, that's always first. That should always be recommended. That should always be the bulletproof answer going forward, period, in working with your clients in the social work setting. However, just in my opinion, if there's a situation where the safety is taken into consideration, danger is being portrayed in some sort of fashion, then I definitely feel that as a social worker, that should be addressed, and then confidentiality can definitely be overlooked, because in the end, safety should always come first. And if I feel that there's something that's going on that, you know, should not be overlooked regardless of confidentiality, yeah, I think that I would rather take that risk rather than, you know, just overlooking it, because I would still feel guilty about it at the end of the day. But overall, I would say confidentiality should always be addressed with the clients up front, and just making sure that they know that it's a safe space and any information shared would not go outside of the guidelines as far as working with the family and the client and the social worker standpoint. Thank you guys. Have a good one.